I wasn't going to make any more videos since I covered pretty much everything you need to know to get into cybersecurity, but people get a lot of bad information from different sources, so I kind of have to correct that now. Here we go again. Do I need A+? No. Do I need help desk? No. They are irrelevant and you don't need them for cybersecurity. I don't really understand where this whole trend comes from. I assume a lot of people find it hard to get a job in the US without a degree and without any real qualifications and a really bad CV, so they think they can easily get a help desk job or something and it's going to help them in cybersecurity, but it's not, and it's much better for you to use your time on something relevant to cybersecurity and getting way better at it than to waste your time on help desk and not really learning anything relevant. This certificate, oh my god, don't get me started. So there's a big problem with this one, and that problem is that every single person that you see here is sponsored. They're not really honest about the quality of the certification. My bad, certificate, it's not even a certification. You passed? What do you mean you passed? There's nothing to pass, it has no exams.
The courses are good. There are video content, there's reading content, there's some like hands-on kind of like...
This is truly one of the most comprehensive cybersecurity entry-level certification programs that I have seen.
And the answer is yes. I have literally not seen one video reviewing the Google Cybersecurity Certificate that wasn't sponsored by either Google or Coursera, and honestly, it's very clear in those videos that they have a ton of bias in them. Honestly, it belongs in the trash.
This is in most ways pretty much useless. It teaches you the absolute basics. It's like a budget Security Plus. It's never gonna help you land an actual job. If you have Security Plus, which you probably should if you're getting into cybersecurity, having this on top of it is not really gonna help. I mean, you can throw it in there on your CV, but everything that's inside of the Google cert is already inside Security Plus. So like practically speaking, it's pretty useless. I guess it also has like a Python and a SQL lab, but you can just watch a Python or an SQL video for 5 to 10 minutes and you're gonna reach the same amount of progress as finishing the whole lab, so that's not really useful. Oh, but this has a practical labs, so I really like it because it's very practical and cybersecurity is practical. No hate on you, Unix guy, you know I love you. But some of the information is just not quite accurate. Farming certifications, oh boy, a lot of people do this. I don't really understand why. So by getting an entry-level certification, you show that you know the basics of the field. By getting 7 of those, you show that you know the basics of the field. Are you catching on here? Basically, there's no real difference between a guy with 1 or 15 entry-level certifications because it just certifies that they know the basics. What you should do is get 1 entry-level certification and then advance into more complex certifications that go into a more of a deep dive in a specific area of a subdomain, like for example pen testing specific certifications like OSCP, rather than having 20 Security Plus equivalents that basically say that they all taught you the same thing. So I'll just get 1 basic one and then specialize and go for more advanced certs in a specific field. Formatting CVs. People have no clue how to make CVs. So I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm just going to reference this video and the timestamp and just watch it from there if you want to know how to make a proper CV, because some of you have messaged me on Discord and oh boy, your CVs are not it. Another huge mistake is just assuming that once you get your Security Plus or your university degree, you're just going to get a job. You will not. Nowadays, everyone has those things and the entry market is quite hard to get into and people don't really care about 1 single certification or 1 degree. Generally, if you don't have a uni degree, you should have at least Security Plus or you should have both, or at least 1 of them is generally how it goes. But then after that, you have to actively study and try to get better. You have to actually put in effort into your CVs. You have to make home labs and do CTFs and get better at whichever zone you're trying to get into in cybersecurity and not just simply have that 1 degree or certification done. Companies want to see you actively trying to progress and trying to get better, and also you're going to have quite a good skill set of practical skills, because otherwise no one's gonna want you. It's a very practical field. People don't really care about theory that much. So keep in mind that practical knowledge and CTFs and labs and whatever you can do to simulate real world environments and actually get better at the technology that you're going to be using during your job is way more important than just having a bunch of degrees or having a decent CV based around academics. Someone with a stacked out TryHackMe profile or GitHub or something is going to be way more impressive than someone that has 15 different certifications. Do I need Network Plus? No. It helps because networking is relevant to every cybersecurity field. It's one of the biggest parts of it. But the certification itself is not really that good. It doesn't show that you know networking too well. So I would recommend just taking a university course from a good university on networking. This is the one I personally went for. And if you want, you should get this certification or just simply know networking. Just put the courses on your CV, say you're good at networking. You don't really need the Network Plus certification itself. If you're already studying for it, you might as well take it if you're already pretty far into it. But if not, I would say there's no reason to just start right now just for the sake of having the certification. It's not really going to help you that much. Also, I don't know how people don't know this yet, but a certification means that you studied specific exam objectives to take an exam so that they can certify that you have taken the exam and that you know the stuff in the exam objectives. A certificate is something that can just be handed out to anyone. There's no exam. Usually people give them out for completing a course or something. A certificate is nowhere near as valuable as a certification because it just shows that you finished a course or that you watched a playlist or something. It doesn't actually show that you learned anything from it. A certification shows that you actually took an exam related to all of that stuff and you passed it, so you actually know that stuff, because anyone can just finish a course and not learn anything. Before you start tossing 50 certificates on your CV, just remember that certifications are a lot more valuable. You need to understand the systems that you're penetrating in order to be able to defend them. Now, this one is partially true. The problem is that it's very misused. So I see a lot of clueless people that say you need to be really good at computer science and algorithmical design and mathematics and understand how encryption works and stuff. That's not how it works though, because there are already people that have dedicated their whole lives to that. There are mathematical geniuses that have already designed these protocols and encryption and stuff. And you don't have to create them from scratch. It's pretty much useless for you to know how to recreate them from scratch, and it's going to take you many years to get to that level. So why would you waste your time on that when that already exists? The point of cybersecurity is not creating tools. The whole point is knowing how to use tools that already exist. So for example, you don't need to understand how encryption is made. You don't need to understand the low-level mechanisms inside of the encryption that you're using. Like, you don't really need to know how AES 256 works. You just need to understand that it works really well, and you need to implement it in your code in a way that doesn't break. Because even if you understand how it works, it's not like you're going to be able to crack it just by understanding. You're not going to be able to do that unless you're like an undercover quantum computer, and you're not going to be able to implement it better if you understand how it works better, because you're just going to be using an encryption function, and then you're just going to be taking an input, running it through the function, and getting the encrypted output. So it's like, how is it useful for you to know how the encryption itself takes place? You really don't need to know that. So no, you don't have to be a computer science genius and understand every single part of a computer. You just need to find an area to specialize on and then get good at that area. And you are not going to need to create stuff from scratch. You just need to know how to use existing technologies. So for example, on Linux, you don't really need to make your own port scanner or something like that. You're simply going to learn how to use Nmap. While you don't have to create Nmap or your own port scanner or really understand how the tool was programmed at a high level, you should understand what it does at a very high level. So that would mean networking, protocols, just understand everything about how computers communicate with each other. That would be important. But the particularities about how Nmap is programmed itself or how you can make one, that is just completely useless to you. You just need to understand what you're working on and how to efficiently work on it by using tools that already exist and are already optimized. That's the important balance here. University degrees, they are not necessary for some fields, but they definitely help. So if you want to go to university, I would say it's not a bad call at all. You can even work while you're in university. You can get something simple like a SOC analyst position while you're getting your uni degree. People say that a uni degree is not needed, and that is true, but just because it's not necessary, it doesn't mean it's not going to help you a lot. There are still companies that only hire people with degrees. And also, if you have one, you're pretty much going to be at the top of the selection list rather than being at the bottom. So I would say if you're into academics and stuff, definitely go for it. If you absolutely hate it, then just grind really hard outside of academics, get really good at what you do by yourself, and then it won't really matter if you have a degree or not. So I guess it's just a uni degree is more of a personal preference. It really comes down to how much you dislike university. You could very easily do uni and then study some more on the side and do some practical projects. But if you really hate uni, then yeah, you can do it without uni, but it's going to be a lot more work and you have to get very good at what you do because you're not going to have that degree to back you up. So you're going to have to put in more work overall. A very underrated element is actually getting good at what you do, because people try to get good jobs and they try to have a nice CV or try to impress recruiters, but at the end of the day, your skill is what's going to actually determine what job you're going to work. So if you're not too skilled, you're not going to get a good job. And if you're going to get a good job and you're not too skilled, you're going to lose it, or you're going to be filtered out in the technical interviews and stuff. Your main goal in the beginning is not to get a really good job. It's actually to just be really good at what you do. So your main goal is to improve and to be better. And then over time, as you're going to get better, you're also going to get better job offers. And therefore, eventually, you're going to get a better job. So in the beginning, you shouldn't be too fixated on your salary or what company you work on or stuff like that. Your main goal is to get better to the point where you can work these harder jobs that are going to be better for you in general. So by being better at what you do, you get a better job. It's kind of like in a game. You shouldn't try to meta abuse or obsess over your points or LP. You should just try to improve in skill, and then as your skill goes up, your rank also goes up. It's gonna be a rubber band effect. Do I need programming? No, but scripting is useful and knowing Python is useful. I would say if you want to learn Python, well, first of all, check out this guide, but if you want to focus on specific technology for cybersecurity, I would say the only language you really need to know is Python. Maybe you can get into like JavaScript and stuff like that, but mainly you're talking about Python. You're going to want to know requests, web servers, and when I say request, I'm talking about web requests, like get posts, stuff like that, sockets, general network stuff related to Python mostly. And then when it comes to other technologies that aren't related to networking, it's going to be mostly just threading and multiprocessing so that you can send multiple requests out at once and have faster scripts. Other than that, I guess you need to know like the basic language syntax and how it works in general, but at a more than basic level, it's only going to be networking stuff, so you should be able to learn that relatively quick if you actually want to grind it. But it's mostly scripting, so it's not going to be too intense on programming.